When plantation records from the Savannah River Valley were finally unsealed in 1983, archivists discovered something that contradicted every assumption about antebellum Georgia. A single cabin on the Hartwell estate, home to a woman described in ledgers only as the Mulatto Rose, contained architectural features that defied the brutal logic of slavery. Hand-carved moldings, a brick fireplace with decorative ironwork, glass windows with curtains, and a locked trunk filled with items no enslaved person should possess. The discovery raised questions officials refused to answer for decades. What they found inside that cabin in 1851 would expose a conspiracy that reached the highest levels of Georgia society, a web of deception so intricate that 5 men would die to protect it, and a truth so disturbing that the surviving Hartwell descendants paid to have the records buried again. Before we continue with the story of Rose and the cabin that became her prison and her weapon, we need you to be part of this investigation. Subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and tell us in the comments where you are listening from. Your engagement helps us uncover more forgotten mysteries like this one. Now let us go back to a humid spring morning in Burke County, Georgia, when everything seemed perfectly ordinary. The Hartwell plantation stretched across 2,000 acres of fertile soil along the Savannah River, 20 miles southwest of Augusta. In 1851, it was one of the most prosperous estates in Burke County, producing cotton, tobacco, and rice through the labor of 143 enslaved people. The main house stood on a slight elevation, a 2-story Greek Revival structure with white columns that caught the morning sun. Magnolia trees lined the approach, their waxy flowers perfuming the air each spring. Thomas Hartwell had inherited the property from his father in 1843. At 38, he was considered a progressive planter by his peers, which meant he preferred psychological control to the whip, though he would use violence when necessary. He kept meticulous records, attended church every Sunday, and served on the county agricultural board. His wife, Catherine, was the daughter of a Charleston merchant and brought both refinement and social connections to the marriage. They had 2 children, Richard, 14, already learning estate management, and Anne, 11, who spent her days with needlework and French lessons. The enslaved population lived in 2 rows of cabins behind the main house, each structure housing between 6 and 10 people. The cabins were identical, single rooms with dirt floors, gaps between the wooden planks that let in rain and cold, shared fireplaces made of mud and sticks. Families received weekly rations of cornmeal, salt pork, and molasses. They worked from dawn until dark during planting and harvest, slightly shorter hours in winter. Hartwell allowed them Sunday afternoons for their own purposes, which he considered generous, but one cabin stood apart. It sat at the end of the western row, separated from the others by perhaps 30 feet. From the outside, it appeared no different than its neighbors, though closer inspection revealed subtle distinctions. The wood was newer, the roof better maintained, the door hung straighter on its hinges. A small vegetable garden grew beside it, something none of the other cabins possessed. Most notable was what it lacked: the constant flow of people, the noise of children, the sounds of communal life. Only one person lived there. Rose had arrived at Hartwell Plantation in the summer of 1848, purchased at an estate sale in Augusta. The seller's ledger described her as mulatto female, approximately 18 years, house-trained, exceptional appearance, no visible scars. Thomas Hartwell paid $850 for her, nearly 3 times the average price for a female field hand. His wife had not accompanied him to the sale. The other enslaved people noticed Rose immediately. Her skin was the color of honey in sunlight, her features delicate, her hair long and curling when not tied back. She moved with a grace that seemed cultivated rather than natural, and she could read, something that became apparent when she was seen examining the labels on medicine bottles in the main house. Her speech carried no regional accent, suggesting education or time spent among white families in a northern city. Thomas Hartwell assigned her to work in the main house initially, assisting with sewing and light cleaning. but within 2 weeks,